What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, the Financial Conspirator, your guide for everything financials and conspiracies. Today, we're going to be talking about Bitcoin, the new gunpowder, the future of money and financial sovereignty. This is a quote from Saifuddin Amos. Let's have him explain it.
It's not optional. I mean, you will either move there or you will watch your wealth lose its value as the people who put their money there appreciate. I mean, just think about it. If you have $1 million and you put them in a currency that's constantly depreciating, where somebody has $10,000 and puts them in a currency that's constantly appreciating, it's only a matter of time until they overtake you. And people are not stupid. They will realize this and they will want to move forward. So when I talk about Bitcoin adoption, people think of it as being like, say, Apple iPhone adoption. It's very nice and very cute, and then people will buy it. But I think that's not the model for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is more like gunpowder adoption. If you think about it, did the French army have a choice whether they should adopt gunpowder or not? Did they decide, no, you know what, we like to keep it real with sticks and stones and swords, and we're not going to use gunpowder? If any army that decided to do this, it didn't matter, because then another army with gunpowder would come and take over France. So eventually, everywhere in the world ended up with gunpowder, either because people adopted it or because it was used against them. And I think Bitcoin is like that. Bitcoin is like financial gunpowder. It's the safest way of sending money halfway around the world, the most secure way, and it's the hardest money that we've ever invented. So it's not something that is, whether we should or want to, or whether people, we try to win people over. And this is why my book is not marketing for Bitcoin, because I don't think marketing for Bitcoin matters. At the end of the day, this is economic reality. The harder money will win. Gold beats silver, and I discussed this in my book, not because there was better marketing for gold or there was better propaganda for gold. It beat silver because of economic reality. Gold grew at a much slower rate than silver. The value of silver declined, and I think this is really the case with Bitcoin. I think in the long run.
And to that point, Bitcoin is not an option. It's a necessity. It's the hardest money humanity has ever seen. Fully decentralized, completely immutable, and finite. And as nation states, corporations, and institutions are racing to accumulate Bitcoin, the supply is only getting smaller as the demand is only getting larger. What happens to price? Fiat currencies are melting ice cubes. Hyperinflation and monetary debasement is inevitable. It will not stop. Bitcoin is your one-way escape ticket hellscape in which we live. The legacy shift. We will be going from central banks printing endless fiat to an absolute scarce model. Government-controlled money to a completely borderless, neutral, political-free, censorship-resistant monetary system. Fiat comes with wealth confiscation risks. You say the wrong thing, like yay, your entire bank account gets shut down. Nobody will ever be able to shut down Ye's Bitcoin address. Now, where does strategy and MSTR fit into this? Michael Saylor's realized there is only one Bitcoin thesis. Own the scarcest asset or die. MSTR is $499,000 and continues to buy. We saw recently they announced their STRK 21 billion ATM proposal, which we will be seeing implemented soon, I think. We saw Bitcoin up 5% today, MSTR up 9%, STRK was only up 3%. Not saying that's why and that he bought this week, but, could be. How many corporations will follow the MSTR playbook or risk debasement? Now, this is really just a dig at Apple, because I don't understand how this company refuses to add Bitcoin or Lightning payments to their Apple wallets. That's millions of users onboarded. And how many people would rather buy on their iPhone than jumping through all the hoops of non KYC? Downloading an app, getting a laptop, getting a cold wallet. Buying on your phone is a lot easier. And this was recently posted by Strategy. STRK serves a market 2.6 times larger than MSTR. Activating the ATM provides Strategy daily access to this market. So as you can see, Bitcoin is $2 trillion worth of assets, $2 trillion of value. Equities are 115. That's the market that MSTR is attempting to capture. And bonds, $300 trillion. DRK is attempting to capture. 300 trillion. MSTR's current market cap is $65 billion. I can't stress enough how undervalued this company is. What's the moat? Why should MSTR trade at a MNAV premium? Are you kidding me? Nation-state adoption and the race to accumulate Bitcoin. El Salvador led the way. The United States is following. Who's next? Countries that buy early benefit the most. It's just about time that traditional finance has caught on. And if you needed another moat for MSTR, they are bridging the gap between Bitcoin and traditional finance. Late adopters become economic subordinates. How many companies will MSTR be able to buy in 5 years' time?
How should the U.S. pursue a Bitcoin strategy? Well, Senator Lummis has given us a clear guideline with the Bitcoin Act in Nashville in July. And what the Bitcoin Act said, it said, let's acquire 1 million Bitcoin over a 5-year period in a programmatic, disciplined fashion, transparent to all. And so let's consider the consequences of this strategy. Well, first of all, last week, the president signed the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve Act or order. If we hold that 200,000 Bitcoin for the next 20 years, even though you see a flat line on the screen, the flat line is worth $3 trillion. So that's the value of doing nothing. Sometimes people think that you have to do something to make money. Sometimes the absence of doing awful and stupid things is making money. Doing stuff is highly overrated if the stuff is trading or selling your Bitcoin. The Lummis bill would acquire 1 million Bitcoin or 1.2 million Bitcoin. If you look at the consequences of that over the time frame, it's worth $16 trillion to the nation. If you get a bit more aggressive, and we go for another million Bitcoin, it's worth $34 trillion to the nation. In this case, there's a bit of reflexivity. If the United States starts to more aggressively stockpile Bitcoin, it's going to accelerate the growth of the network. It's going to accelerate capital flowing in the network. It's going to increase and expand the overall digital capital network. If we move to a triple max strategy, you'll end up with 4 million Bitcoin. That's worth $73 trillion to America. And of course, President Trump has laid out a guideline. We should be the superpower. If you want a superpower strategy, here's a superpower strategy. Acquire Bitcoin consistently. By the way, over what time frame? Consistently daily between now and the 0.99. 0.99 is January of the year 2035, the point at which 99% of the Bitcoin supply has been mined. The asset becomes effectively capped for all practical purposes because the last 1% comes out over 100 years. 0.99 between now and then, you've got 10 years for the digital gold rush. You should get your Bitcoin before there's no more Bitcoin for you. And you can see here, in this strategy, we acquire it consistently, and then we use surpluses from the U.S. government to continue to save in Bitcoin. It's worth $106 trillion to the United States. And so what does that look like? Well, the Lummis plan, which is grand, is modest in some ways, and a modest strategic Bitcoin reserve plan neutralizes the national debt. Sometimes doing modest things are actually brilliant as long as you do the thing. It's like the people that bought just a little bit of Bitcoin in 2012. It was a modest investment. It made them billionaires. A modest thing 20 years in advance is a brilliant thing. If you're more aggressive, the triple max plan negates the national debt. The superpower plan creates a global superpower.
I can make a whole video on that alone. But let's keep this train moving. Why is price, especially short-term price fluctuations, an illusion? Because one Bitcoin still equals one Bitcoin.
Before we go, Bitcoin was under 8,000 earlier today.
Buy it.
Regardless, though, of the drop. If I said to you Bitcoin dropped to 5,000, you'd say buy it.
Buy it. Because here's the thing, the daily price of Bitcoin doesn't matter. It's been alive for 10 years. In every year, other than one, 2015, it's made a higher low. The market cap has grown every single year. Every fundamental indicator of Bitcoin, usage, wallets, block size, transaction size, number of transactions, every single one, hash rate, making new highs. All of the indicators of the network and the network value are rising. The price of any asset fluctuates. Let's take Amazon. Amazon has been a public company for 20 years. In every year, including this year, it's at a double-digit drawdown. The average peak to trough, minus 31%. Twice, minus 90%. When was the right time to sell? Never. Who's owned it since the IPO to today? Jeff and his mom and dad. That's it.
All right. We're going to leave it there, Mark.
All right,
Good to see you.
thanks
Thank
for
you,
having me.
Mark
Great to be
Yusko,
with
Morgan
you.
Creek Capital.
Outcast.
Did you hear that? The fundamentals continue to grow as the price goes down. Where have you heard that before? Pretty sure I have a video talking about how MSTR, since its peak, has acquired nearly 150,000 Bitcoin. Meanwhile, the price is falling. Your Bitcoin per share is growing as the cost, the USD per share, is lowering. What more can you ask for? What more do you want from me? Right? You're getting more value. You're getting more bang for your buck as price falls and MSTR sticks to its Bitcoin strategy. Nothing has changed. Nothing's changed. Bitcoin is getting closer and closer to becoming the global reserve asset every single day. And MSTR is leading the charge as the Bitcoin treasury company. And as Wall Street, sovereign wealth funds, and nation states continue to buy, supply continues to dwindle. As the final supply crunch happens, one Bitcoin could be worth hundreds of millions of dollars in fiat terms. Yes, I'm saying it. None of this is financial advice. This is just me and my insane Bitcoin maximalist opinions. You are faced with a choice. What are you going to do? Act? Wait? Bitcoin is not an investment. It's a peaceful revolution. Will you capture a share of digital utopia for yourself and your family? Or will you wait on the sidelines because you think lower prices are coming? It's been your boy, the Financial Conspirator. I hope you've enjoyed. Like, subscribe, comment, do all that good jazz. I'll see you guys next time.